When you model in Maya, you often go through multiple steps to create the shape that you want. Maya remembers these steps and it creates a running history of your object. Now, you can use this history to your advantage to affect things after they've been modified. Now, let's take a look at how that works. So, I'm going to go ahead and select everything in the scene, this chair, and let's hide it by going Control H. And let's go ahead and just create a simple polygonal cube. And I'm going to go here in my channel box under the Polycube 4 input, and let's go ahead and increase some subdivisions in height and depth. And then I'm going to go ahead and select some of these faces here, and we can extrude by going Control E. And maybe we extrude in. So I'm going to scale that down and move it in a little bit, and then maybe add in some divisions. So I've got some history on this, and if we go into object mode, we can select that. And if we go over to our channel box, you see under inputs, we have the original cube, and then we have the extrude. So if I can go into my attribute editor, I can go to my original polycube, and that was what was originally created. So if I wanted to change the size of that, I could change the size of that original object. Or if I want to go to that extrude face that we had, I can go to that and I can change, say, the number of divisions here. Or I can change keep faces together, and now notice how that affects that. And I can go through really any of these and go back and change them. Now, as we create and model the object, these tabs will get more and more. Now I'm going to go ahead and select this and delete it. And then let's go ahead and do a display show last hidden. So this chair is made up of a couple of different objects here. So if I were to say select the cushion, you'll see that it all starts off with a polycube. And again, I can change the original dimensions of that cube. We did what's called a poly split ring, which was essentially an insert edge loop. And then we tweak some geometry. So we move some vertices around and so on. Now the main part of this chair also has a whole bunch of stuff. So we have a poly mirror, which we used. We also have the layer that the chair was in, as well as a bunch of other stuff. So some of this history can be manipulated, some can't, but typically by the time you're finished modeling, you don't really need this history. So it's always good practice to delete history before you finalize your model. So let's take a look at how that works. I can select an object here, and you see this has a whole number of tabs here. So I can go into Edit, Delete by Type, and we should have an option called History. And when I do that, it deletes everything except for the object and a few other things. So all those changes that we did are now baked into the shape of the object. I can go to this one here and also do a delete by type history. Or if I know I'm done with the entire scene, I can do an edit, delete all by type history, and that gets rid of all of it. So if I select something like these legs, you'll see that it's really just the shape and then the shading of that object. So when you work in Maya, it will keep history of all the operations that you've done. And you can go back through this history and change values if you want. And then at the end, when you're done with modeling, you should always delete history to get a clean slate.